Hello, everybody. I am live once again tonight to talk about the finale of Big Brother Canada Season 12. So I didn't really talk about the season that much, but we got to talk about the finale. This finale was exciting. I have not been watching Big Brother Canada the last few seasons. I skipped season 10 and I skipped 11, even though I heard they were both great. Don't know about that. And I was on my toes this whole fucking season, and this finale was no different. So we got to talk about it. All right. So going into this final three, you had Bay, Anthony, and Lexus. Now, I and most other people were sitting at home thinking, damn, you know, taking out Spicy was a fucking terrible move across the board. It was bad for Anthony because it left him as a huge target in the final four. And now he has poisoned the jury against him for like no reason. He should have waited. It was a bad move for Todd and Bay because now going into final four, if they aren't in control, Lexus or Anthony will chop one of them over Spicy. We didn't realize how much we were fucking wrong until tonight. All right, so starting off with the challenges, let's work our way to like the meat and potatoes. So the challenges. I was really surprised that Anthony was able to pull off that inside out competition. By the way, if you have any questions or anything that you think we should talk about, put it in the comments and I will pin it to the live stream. So that challenge. All right. I was really surprised Anthony was able to win that because Anthony has not been good at physical challenges this entire season. Shit, he hasn't been good at physical challenges since he entered the doors of BBCAN12. So when he pulled out that first win, I was like, damn. Then we went into the second challenge, and I thought that Lexus was going to win. I saw somebody in the fucking BBCAN12 chat on Video Brother, which, yes, that's where I watch it. I'm sorry, Global. I'm not trying to pirate, but give an American an option, or else I'm going to have to pirate your shit. So going into that second comp, I thought, oh, Lexus has got it because Lexus just swept everybody in that last challenge, Final Four, which was basically the same shit. Bailey pummeled the fuck out of that challenge. She went the fuck in on that challenge. So she goes to the final comp, and it's a tie, and Anthony wins it. All right. I had to preface all that out the way. Now we have to get into that final HOH decision. I'm sitting at home thinking, it's a wrap. Now I was just, waiting for the jury vote because I had read, I don't know if any of you saw this, but there was an exit interview done with Todd, I believe on Silent Podcast, shout out to Silent Podcast, or Rob has a podcast. And the interviewer asked Todd who would win between Lexus and Anthony. And Todd said, right now it would be Lexus that would win. And that's where I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? I was like, Lexus would beat Anthony, but it makes sense. They all hate Lexus, but they hate Anthony even more. So I was like, is the jury going to be salty enough at Anthony that they actually give the win to Lexus, or do they hate Lexus enough to where they'll forgive Anthony and let him have the win? But Anthony just completely blows that shit out the fucking water and takes Bailey to the final two. What? Firstly, yes, I'm fucking stoked because Bailey has been my winner pick since the very first day. They didn't even need to show the jury speech. As soon as he said, I'm taking Bailey to the final two, I knew she won. Because after that jury roundtable, Anthony and Lexus didn't have a shot in hell. I want to pin Arcanum's comment. Shout out to Arcanums. I just need to understand Anthony's logic in not taking Lexus. Me fucking too. I really do not understand why he thought that he had the best chance. Okay, so I've been trying to rationalize this. Why did he think that Bailey was the best choice to take to the final two over Lexus? All right, let's break it down. At final five, because clearly top 6, he wanted Tola to be there still. He didn't want Tola to go home. That was his only choice. So at top 5, Anthony made a conscious decision to keep Bailey in the game, and not only keep her in the game, but keep her safe. I feel that Anthony decided he was going to take Bailey to the final 2 at final 5. I think that was when he made the choice. Maybe before that, he wanted Tola in the final 2 with him. So I think once Tola was gone, it was locked in for him. He wanted Bailey in the end. If not then, maybe at when he evicted Avery. So, because he bent over backwards, bitch. He didn't even put Bailey on the block as an initial nom. He put Lexus up instead. That should have been a red flag to Lexus. So Anthony thinks that he can beat her. I just don't understand the logic of why he thought she was the easiest. I think maybe what went through his mind was, okay, Bailey has gotten into an argument with Tola. Um, she's pissed off some of the girls. The girls were potentially had a plan to blindside her the round that Kayla went home. Maybe I really don't know because Bailey hasn't pissed anyone off at this point. She has Todd, who's her number 1. She went back on her word to Spicy, but it was made out that she betrayed Spicy, not the other way around. Her and Avery were on the block against each other. I guess maybe her and Kayla ended on a sour note. So it's just I don't really understand where he saw, oh, I can definitely beat Bailey over Lexus. Because mind you, like I could see that I just don't understand what the logic was that Bailey was easier to beat than Lexus because Lexus you could say the same shit about. The girls hated her all season. She didn't really have anyone on her side the whole way through. Uh Maybe the way he saw it was that Lexus was a target the whole way through and maybe that she had similar arguments to him because they were on the same side. I just don't know. Maybe he thought hot chocolate. Maybe he thought that hot chocolate, you know what? That's what I think it was. He didn't take Lexus because of hot chocolate wanting a black woman winner, I fear. I was just going to say that, Jonah. I'm glad I saw your comment. I actually agree with that. I actually think you're right. I think that he didn't take her because I think he thought, oh, because of hot chocolate, the girls are going to want Lexus to win because they want a black woman to win. But that's not what was going through their mind. And Anthony, you're the one that demolished fucking hot chocolate. You single-handedly are the reason why all 4 members of Hot Chocolate were voted the fuck off. So you voted her off because you thought that they were just going to hand her a vote for that reason. I just don't get it. And do you think that Hot Chocolate was just going to automatically vote for a Hot Chocolate member no matter what? And that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I think that maybe he thought in his mind, okay, if I take Lexus to the final 2, then she's going to get the 3 girls' votes, and she might even get Bailey's vote. Is that what he thought, maybe? And maybe he thought, okay, if I take Bailey to the final 2, I'll get Lexus's vote. She won't be mad at me. I'll get Hot Chocolate's vote except for Spicy, so that'd be 3, and he'll get Tola's. That's the only thing that I can think make sense in this universe because I don't get it. But did he not think that maybe Lexus would be bitter? Did he not understand? Okay, we need to have a serious conversation about this whole goat talk, okay? Because I see a lot of you motherfuckers on here season after season calling people the goat when they are not the fucking goat. This is not whatever that Freevee show is. They're not fucking goats. Oh, hey, Deshaun. They're not the goat. What's up, Deshaun? They are fucking goats. Like, taken to the slaughter. I don't think that Paul is an amazing player. I don't think Anthony's an amazing player. Yeah, the fuck I said it. I don't think they're that amazing players. You know why? You could be as amazing strategically as you fucking want to. Doesn't change the fact that you're never going to win in a final 2. Doesn't change that. Tell me, who was Anthony going to beat in a final 2? Who the fuck was he going to beat? Kayla? No. Avery? No. Spicy? No. Todd? No. Shit, he was going to lose to Lexus. He just lost to Bailey. The only person that in my mind I think maybe he could beat maybe Goose. But Goose didn't even make it far enough to even think of what he could have had as a speech. Tola, I don't even think Tola would have beaten him. You could forget it. I just don't understand this mindset. Anthony's the greatest of all time. I just fucking agree. The first season, he ran off of a bunch of guys who had too much testosterone to function. That was why he was able to get to the final two of that season, bitch. Anthony is like Cody Calafiori if Cody Calafiori never learned his lesson during All Stars. And I thought that I agree with you, John. I'm happy a woman won after, I think it's been 6 years since a woman has won Big Brother Canada. This is just all types of, no. He wouldn't have beaten anybody. You can't tell me he's the greatest of all time if your bitch ass wasn't going to beat anyone. This was exactly how I would have loved the finale to end, because now there is no argument. If Bailey would have won and evicted Anthony, there would have been all this arguments about, oh, he would have won if he was the end. He would have won in these then. No, he wouldn't have, bitch. He was losing against either one of these two. In fact, it might have even been better if he was against Lexus and he lost to Lexus. This was probably the most embarrassing finale performance I have ever seen in a Big Brother season, America or Canada. Actually, I was gonna say Josh and BBCAN10. I didn't watch BBCAN10, but I saw what happened and how he dragged Kevin to the end and was simping for Kevin. But I think he was losing regardless. I don't think that guy was gonna beat up. Well, but Anthony was gonna lose regardless. So, but Anthony, it's more embarrassing because Anthony had this bravado the whole season that he was the strongest, the best player in Big Brother Canada history. All right, so let's talk about the final speeches, okay? Yes, 6 years. That's crazy, Arcanums. So let's talk about these final speeches. Okay. Anthony says to Lexus, I'm sorry, but I think that you would have beaten me if you were in the final two. I'm going to call shade here because something I thought about, I think his ass wanted her vote. I think he evicted Lexus because he knew if he evicted or he thought if he evicted Lexus, Lexus would still vote for him, but he knew if he evicted Bailey, he wasn't getting that vote. And I think he's right. I think if he evicted Bailey, there was no chance in hell Bailey was going to give him that vote. When I was listening to their final speeches and them answering the questions, Anthony did not answer a single fucking question. He did not. He did fucking not. It was a lot of, oh, I didn't mean to, oh, this, oh, that. You can't play this game backstabbing people and not standing in it. If you are going to betray people, own that shit. Nobody wants to get stabbed and then hear, oh, it was so hard for me to stab you. No one wants to hear that shit. If you're going to stab someone, be like, yeah, I'm stabbing you, and that's what the fuck you got to do. So when you're sitting up there talking about how much you love hot chocolate and you love the initiative, that was probably the only question that he answered that I felt was a reasonable answer, where he was like, listen, if I went to the end with you guys would have cut me. How true is that? I don't know. But it's also very tricky when you had formed an alliance that was formed for a higher purpose, right? That would be like if during the cookouts season, BB23, if one of them had betrayed the cookout, I don't think anyone on the cookout would have awarded the person that did that because it had a higher meaning. Now, on Big Brother Canada, there already have been well, you see, I don't want to say that because it's still like, I understand it. I still understand it. But I just think it's really unnecessary to form an alliance like that and betray it. Anthony should have said to them, I don't feel comfortable having the alliance be under those pretenses, right? If he knew he was going to betray it. Because when you make an alliance that has that much meaning to it, where it's outside the game, and you single-handedly fuck it up, yeah, they're probably not going to want to vote for you to win. I wouldn't. Seriously, like, listen, I can't speak from their perspective because I am not a black person, so I don't know, how they would feel. I don't know if that was their main purpose, but I would imagine that if you formed an alliance for that higher power and then you're constantly talking about the whole season how important it is and all this shit, and then you single-handedly destroy the alliance, miss me with that. So when they were giving their final speeches, Anthony, I think in his own mind, was thinking he's got it locked up. I think that he thought Bailey didn't have a chance in hell. I don't think he thought she would have a good speech. I don't think that he thought people were going to consider voting for her. I think he truly thought that sitting next to her was going to be a slam dunk. And then she gets up and speaks, and the jury is, yeah, Bailey! Whoa, go Bay! Woo, go Bay! Let me look at what the chat said. Hold on. Colin, hey, what's up, Colin? I said this in Lemon Chat, but what cost Anthony jury votes is being very self-centered. I agree with this. I agree with this. You can't play the game that selfishly. And if you're going to play it selfishly, you need to give people respect, right? You need to be able to say, all right, I'm cutting you because X, Y, and Z. Don't play in people's faces. Don't act like you wanted them to be there, bitch, you needed them out. Someone says, John says, I really wonder if production told Victoria to clean up that glass. Frankly, if I did something like that, I would have left it there. Oh, I remember that when she, I wouldn't be surprised if they told her to do that too. Okay, so when Bailey was giving her speeches, I'm going to say this. We cannot call this jury bitter. I disagree. Here's why. The final speeches, Bailey gave the best speeches. And if I was just listening to those speeches to explain their games, Bailey clearly described her game from the beginning to the end and gave a clear pathway. It was great. Everything she said, I was like, yes, yes, yes. If I had to describe her gameplay, Bailey saw that Anthony was a dangerous player. She saw that he was like a cult leader. And when there's a cult leader, it's very difficult to take the cult leader out because it's nearly impossible to turn his followers against him. For example, there was no universe where Lexus was turning against Anthony. There was no universe where Spicy was turning against Anthony until he did what he did. So instead of trying to fight against Anthony and take shots at him when it was probably going to fail, she bided her time and waited and cuddled up to the cult leader so he would protect her. And that's exactly what the fuck he did. He made that lie, and that lie that he made about Kayla saved her game. If he didn't convince Spicy to convince Avery to take out Kayla that week, they were going to take a shot at Bailey. That was what their plan was. So, but she won the veto that week, didn't she? Didn't she win the veto the week that Kayla went home? Yes, she did win. So they wouldn't have been able to, but still, they were trying. They were thinking, oh yeah, so it doesn't even matter. But who knows what would have happened to her game if she did if she didn't go home if Kayla didn't go home that week. But Bailey was doing little things like that. And this is another example of why I disagree with people when they say that they need to make big moves, as in being responsible for other people going home. I think that's bullshit. I think that a big move can be something as simple as using a veto on somebody. It can be as simple as forming a relationship with somebody that you know has influence in the game. It can be as simple as giving Spicy the HOH so that she has full confidence in you. Like, you don't need to be directly responsible for someone going home. And when you look at the weeks, who was Bailey solely responsible for sending home? Janine, no. Donna, no. Dennis, no. Vivek, no. Matt, kind of. Kind of. She was pushing for that, but really, no. Elijah, no. Kayla, no. Avery, no. Tola, no. Spicy's probably the only one, but really that was Anthony. Todd, no. Lexus, no. So directly, Bailey didn't cause any evictions this week. She was always a cog in it. But Bailey's game was not about controlling. And I think this is a good example of why you don't need to be the puppet master. You don't need to be the mastermind to be a great Big Brother player. Sometimes the best game that you can play is proving your loyalty to people so they keep you in the game. That's what the fuck Big Brother is all about. Big Brother is not about being the one that decides who the fuck goes home just so you can say that you're the one in charge. Big Brother is a game about having relationships with people so that they don't want to evict you from the house and so that you can sit in the final two chairs and they will award you the win. And that's what the fuck they did, to the point where you had to have a jury member give you a fucking vote out of sympathy so that it's not unanimous against you. So Bailey's speech, honestly, what won me was when Bailey said that shit about the king, about how a king really doesn't have to move. And in reality, she was absolutely the fuck right. Anthony didn't really have any points in the game where his back was up against the wall when you really think about it. There was never really a week where he was in trouble, so he didn't really have to fight that much. Was he influencing the game? Yeah, he was influencing the game, but not really when you think about it. I mean, he got Janine out. Whoop-de fucking do. Donna, I mean, who gives a shit? Anthony, Dennis, I wouldn't say that he was solely responsible for that. He flopped on getting Vivek to stay. He flopped on getting Matt to stay. He flopped on getting Tola to stay. The things that he did that I was impressed by was he got Kayla to go home, and he got Spicy to go home. That's really it. I mean, when you think about it, what really did Anthony mastermind this season? Kayla and Spicy. But Spicy going was a shitty move for his game. And Kayla going home was probably his highest point in the game. Other than that, like what? What is it? Because he dragged Bailey to the end and Bailey beat his ass. There's just so many instances where Anthony could have been the mastermind and he was not. So I think people are misconstruing the fact that he has all these confessionals hyping himself up, and he betrayed Victoria, and he betrayed Kayla, and he betrayed Avery or whatever. Betraying a bunch of motherfuckers does not make you a mastermind, okay? Sorry, I had to go into a little bit of a rant, but it is what it is. Your ass was not winning. Those crucial weeks that you needed to keep people here, if he would have tricked Spicy into not using the executive veto on Todd and sending Todd home, or tricked her into using it on Tola so they could have backdoored Bailey, which he wanted to do. He wanted to backdoor Bailey that week. Maybe I would have been impressed, but he didn't. He lost Vivek. The following week, they evicted Matt. He couldn't convince them not to evict Matt. The only thing that he really did that was almighty powerful was his move against Kayla, when you really fucking think about it. And then his move against Spicy, yeah, he turned Bailey and Todd against Spicy. But that was a shitty move for his game. That was a shitty move for his game. Oh, Spicy would have taken him to the final two. And let's be real here. If he would have won that final HOH and evicted her at final three, I think she would have been more likely to give him the vote, because if he would have said, I think you would beat me, I gotta evict you, she also wouldn't have had as much time to poison the jury. There just was like a lot of things that he was underestimating Bailey. He was underestimating Todd. He was just, ugh. So let's get into these final speeches, right? These final speeches, I went over Bailey's final speech, Anthony's final speech. Okay, so Bailey's final speech, I thought it was funny as shit when she was like, I'm not done, Arissa. I didn't think her final speech was all that amazing, but I do think that her talking about her relationship with Anthony was really great. She laid it out point blank, the period. I mean, all the shit that I already said about cuddling up to the cult leader, basically. But Anthony's final speech, man, that was hard to watch. And I know there's a lot of Dougie stands out there, but that was hard to watch. He stood up there and I could see on his face, he knew he was losing. And I think he was trying to pull out the sympathy card of, oh, my mom is sick. Oh, this. And listen, I hate to say it, but I was like, girl, Miss Thing, come on now. Come on now. Like, give me a fucking break. Oh, my mom's in the hospital. I don't know her health. I had to bury my best friend, all this stuff. Like, I feel for you. But sorry, I don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Sorry, Anthony. Like, it's no hate to you. I feel bad that you're going through all this shit. But come on now. This is not the fucking time to sit up there and give a sob story. You need to tell these people why you should win. Nobody wants to hear after you betrayed all these people. They got problems, they got families, X, Y, and Z. Who the fuck wants to sit up there and be lectured to about you have all these problems and they're dunking on you and they shouldn't be dunking on you because you have all these issues? Bitch, give it a rest. Pack it up. Because what is going on here? And I don't dislike Anthony as a person or even as a player, but this was just a huge crash. I've never seen in Big Brother history a crash and burn this hard. That was a rough fucking finish for this guy. So he goes on this tangent about all this shit that's wrong with his life. Everything is wrong. Oh, woe is me. And then he starts berating the jury. And yes, I'm using the word berating. He was lecturing the jury on why their perspectives were wrong. He was talking about comp wins. I'm like, no one's talking about comp wins. So why are you up there? Like, I agree with you. Like, who gives a shit about comp wins at the end of the day? But no one's asking about comp wins. No one's saying anything about comp wins. And you have the same comp wins as Bailey. So who gives a fuck, right? But in one breath, he says comp wins don't matter. And then he starts raving about all the comp wins he has. I'm like, what? Um, I think that his mind was just jumbled. He didn't really know what the fuck to do because I think he knew at that point Bailey was obviously winning. But what he should have done is he should have just ignored that, shut it out, and just been like, look, guys, I played this game dishonestly. I betrayed you guys. Outside of this game, I will apologize to it, but for here, this was what I needed to do. You guys need to remember, he said this in his speech, 2 seasons never on the block. Never a target to go home. Like, that was great, but he was framing it more like he was flexing, not so much as why it the fuck matters. Because you can go a whole season without going on the block, Nicole Franzel. Does not mean that you are the biggest threat in the game. Sometimes you don't go on the block because people don't care enough to take you out. What makes you the biggest target? What makes you the biggest threat? Talk about that you were 1 of 2 vets to come into the game. Talk about orchestrating a masterful move to get Kayla out because he saw Kayla's threat level. Instead of bullshitting people, which that's what he's a bullshit artist. Instead of bullshitting people about, oh, you love them, this, that, the third, you didn't want to see them go, hype them the fuck up. Nobody wants to be evicted and just be told, oh, I didn't want to see you go home if it's not fucking true. But everyone wants to hear that they were a big threat, that they were, everyone wants to be hyped up. Why not hype Kayla up that she was a threat to win, X, Y, and Z? Avery, she was a threat to win. She thought she was the best player. Why not hype her up as the best player? Hype up Tola, hype up Spicy, hype up Todd, hype up Lexus. Like, but with Lexus, it felt so ingenuine, man. Like, he should have just owned up the fact that he fucked up there. But that's why Anthony lost, and it's the same thing as Paul. But this was different from Paul, IMO. This was different from Paul. Paul was a cult leader the whole way through, and with Paul, those people didn't give a fuck about winning. With Anthony, I said this to someone on Twitter and they didn't understand it, but as somebody that watched Survivor All-Stars, this was very Boston Rob Mariano. He had a very Boston Rob performance where with Boston Rob, he had the advantage of having a pregame relationship with Spicy. And because of that, Spicy was never going back on that. And because of that, he benefited from all of Spicy's relationships. Now, when you're going to go back on a real life friendship, best believe you're going to fuck up. And the same thing that he did to Spicy, where he wasn't being truthful about why he wanted her gone, he did the same shit to everyone else. He wasn't being straight up. And Paul did the same shit where he wasn't being honest about it. He acted like he was everyone's best friend and that he couldn't take everyone to the final 2, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't owning the fact that he had made multiple deals with multiple people. And don't tell people that's the way Big Brother goes. Bitch, no, it's not. Bailey played the game honestly and she's sitting in the final 2. So what's your excuse? You can't come from it from a morality perspective. You got to come from it's the game perspective. And he also has no idea how the fuck to manage a jury. I saw someone on Twitter talking about some oh, jury management. Why do we have to manage a jury? Blah, 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 blah. Because that's the fucking game, bitch. It's a social experiment. Listen, he could have, maybe if he was on BBCAN 9, he would have won. Or BBCAN 10, he would have won. Or 11. But he was on Big Brother Canada 12. And he did not win because he didn't understand the game that he needed to play with these people. You have Tola, Avery, Kayla. Let's go through these jurors, right? Elijah, he got Elijah's vote. Elijah is a game bot. Whatever. Kayla was so loyal to Hot Chocolate, she didn't even blow y'all's game the fuck up when you guys lied on her and blindsided her in one of the most ruthless blindsides I've ever seen ever. Unnecessarily ruthless, might I add. Avery, who again, loyalty, 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 loyalty. She was so loyal that she went against Kayla for Hot Chocolate because she thought she was going to fuck y'all up. You go back on her. Tola, also all about loyalty the whole season. And yes, you wanted him to stay, but you still evicted him over Lexus when he thought that you had him over Lexus. Spicy, you already know. Spicy don't play with fucking blindsiding. She's your real life friend and you fucked her up to the point where she smashed a glass on national fucking TV. Todd, I mean, I think Todd might have voted for him if Bailey wasn't there. I think Todd would have voted for him if it was Lexus. And then Lexus so loyal that she kept your ass in the game and you went back on her. So you have a jury that's game is all about fucking loyalty or pettiness. And you decided to backstab them? A jury full of petty and loyal bitches? And you thought you were going to win? Bruh. It's not different styles of gameplay win on different seasons. Bailey's game might not have won on BBCAN 11, but it won BBCAN 12, and that's all that the fuck matters. So with Anthony, ultimately, there's a way to play the game ruthlessly and disloyally, but still win. And that's by respecting the people that you're evicting, not sitting in the jury laughing about how you're the best player of all time. It's all about knowing how to evict each person. Elijah, you can evict and lie to his face and he won't give a fuck. But everyone else, you got to have some tact. And that's where Anthony's game was lacking, was not having tact with how to send people home. He knew the way to get them sent home, but he didn't know how he should handle their evictions emotionally. He knew strategically, but not emotionally. And that's why emotions 10 out of 10 times outrule any strategy that you could ever fucking do on Big Brother or Survivor. It don't fucking matter. And that's the motherfucking tea. Let me read these comments real fast. The whole sympathy stuff is already a bad look on him when he already is known to be a manipulator in-game. Well, I totally agree with that, too. I agree with that, too. This whole season, you're manipulative and all these things, and then you're going to end off by trying to get a sympathy vote? Bitch, miss me with that. Give me a goddamn break. How are you going to sit up there and be a villain and not own your shit? I will use, y'all are not going to like me for saying this, but I will use Evil Dick as an example. Evil Dick won his season being a fucking evil dick. There was not one moment where he went back on his evilness. And they respected it. And the jury gave him the win over Danielle Donato, who y'all stan, because Danielle Donato was fake as shit to all of them. Danielle was trying to be nice to them, fake nice to them. They didn't like that. So they gave the win to a fucker that made fucking gonorrhea jokes to them and a crackhead addiction reads to them. They still gave him the win over fake shit. 10 out of 10 times, people prefer assholes to fake bitches. 10 out of 10 times. Tell me I'm wrong. Give me an example of a time where a fake bitch beat an asshole. You can't do it. You can't do it. So ultimately, Bailey deserved the win. Absolutely. And if Lexus would have won, I would have said the same shit. I think Anthony is a good strategic player. But there's a difference. Big Brother's not just about the strategy. Oh, he's a good social player. Clearly fucking not, because 2 seasons, 2 seasons he couldn't get a jury to give him a win. 2. And he sits there and he cries with them, and he, feels for them emotionally, blah, 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 blah. But he don't respect the people that he evicts. He doesn't respect them. And honestly, that whole hot chocolate situation, you really had an alliance together. You really had a group of people come together on a social premise, a real life premise, and you single-handedly fucked them all over. That's a little bit weird to me as well. That doesn't sit right, to be honest with you, when I really think about that. I'm going to open up the chat. If anybody has anything they'd like to talk about, I'd love to hear some opinions. I'd love to hear some thoughts before I end this live stream. This was just crazy. As far as who I would want to see back from this season, I mean, Janine, no. Donna, no. Dennis, maybe, but no. Vivek, absolutely the fuck not. Matt, who? Goose, no. Kayla, everyone felt bad for her, but no. Avery, hell no. Tola, no. Spicy, I'm good. Todd, no. Lexus, no. Anthony, we already saw him play the same exact game twice. Bailey, Bailey's probably the only person that I think would be worth bringing back again. If I'm going to be completely honest, I could see putting Spicy and Anthony in a season again. Anthony has now made himself. I mean, listen, I don't think he's a great player. I don't think he's a legend in that respect, but he is the only person in the history of Big Brother Canada to get to the final two twice. And I believe he's one of 3 people to get to the final two twice in a Big Brother season. He's up there with Dan and with Paul now. I still don't think he's one of the best players of all time, but he will go down in history as a BBCAN legend. I think Spicy is as well. So I could see bringing one of those two back. But as far as the bringing those two back again to have their beef again, but as far as the others, what the fuck is Lexus gonna do if you put her on another season? I know Todd won fan favorite, but I mean he's the same as all the other uh, newfies that win that award. Kayla, oh, everyone feels so bad for Kayla. I forgot about Kayla 1 week after she left. If she would have blown up hot chocolate, maybe I would have felt differently, but she didn't even fight for herself on the way out. She just took it. And there's much better people to pick. The only person from this season that really deserves to be on there again is Bailey. But I mean, I don't even know if they're gonna ever do returning players. I mean, they did 2 this season, but all returning players. It's been 12 seasons. They still haven't done an all-star season yet. The closest we got was season 5. And season 5 was the best season I think the show ever had, but it nearly got the show canceled. So, I will say I'm glad that I gave I'm glad I gave this season a chance because after they stopped doing the live feeds, I wasn't really into the idea of Big Brother Canada because I enjoy getting the live feed updates. And I go back and forth. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, season 7, Anthony's season, completely turned me off from the show. I couldn't watch it. It was the dumbest shit I ever watched in the history of the universe to this day. Dumber than BBCAN 19. I mean, dumber than BB19. Dumber than BB22. It was the dumbest shit ever. I couldn't watch it. The fact that an entire house of people got fucking outplayed by Dane, fucking one-tooth Dane, the Neanderthal. Ciao. Dane. How embarrassing to be outplayed by a one-tooth bitch like Dane. And Mark. Anthony was easily the smartest person in that entire alliance, but he was too big of an ass for them to give the win to. And then this season it was the same shit. So I just couldn't watch BBCAN after that. I tried with season 9, and I watched season 9, but then season 9 pissed me off too. Season 9 was pretty good though. I thought Tashawn was an amazing winner. Um, but like you had Kiefer, that everyone loves Kiefer, but Kiefer was trying to quit. Uh, whatever. This was a really good season though, and maybe I'll go back and rewatch the last 2 seasons. I heard the last 2 seasons were really good. Um, but I already know who won those seasons or whatever. Um, Anthony and Spicy V should have been saved for a full All Stars. I think BBCAN 8 should have had 2 players. No, tell me who on BBCAN 8 was worth bringing back. I mean, let's be real here. I think BBCAN 8, the second that COVID happened, and they knew that there was a chance that the shit was going to get shut down, they should have wrapped that season up faster. Like they should have been like, all right, we're going to finish this season in 1 week. The season's going to get accelerated. Or they should have done something to wrap that season up, because now you've just got a whole crowd of people, 12 people that never had a finish to that season. Um and I don't think they ever will. But I mean, of that cast, I mean, the only people that I remember is Min Lee. I mean, I didn't really watch the season, if I'm being honest with you. Min Lee, and I know that Sheldon and Brooke were running the show. I remember Chris. I remember Maddie. That's it, though. And I mean, that season was a shit show. Walked, evicted, and then 2 people kicked out. What a fucking shit show. And honestly, no, I don't think that they needed to be saved for an all-star season. I actually think it was pretty cool to see them back. I think it's fun to see returning people back on these mixed casts to add to their lore a little bit. Um, I think now more than ever, I think that Anthony would have been a lock for an all-star, but I don't know if Spicy would have been a lock, just because there's so many other people that could have been chosen. But now I think if they did an all-star, those two definitely should be in the running to be on it, because to see them go at it again now that they have this beef, that would be interesting. I'm curious, if Anthony were to play again, do we think that Anthony could make it far on a BBCAN season again, or a Big Brother US season for that matter? Could he make it past the first couple of weeks? I think he might, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. I don't know. Overall, though, I will say this. I think this was a really good season. I was constantly on my toes. This is an example, though, of why you should not take out people that are loyal to you. Don't fucking do it. Stop wasting HOHs on evicting your allies, because the person that ended up winning very poetically was the person that was the most loyal, that had the backs of people that were loyal to her. So I think that it was a perfect way to wrap up this season. That loyalty was the thing that won. Look, check it out. You got uh Vivek, that turned his back on Dennis, goes home the next week. Uh then you got who was evicted next? Was it Matt? Yeah, but Matt got take and then you got Avery takes out Matt, who was one of her tighter allies, and she goes home just a few weeks later, but that fucks her whole alliances game up. Then you've got Avery taking out Kayla. Basically, she took out 2 of her allies back to back. She took out Matt, and then she took out Kayla back to back. Then you've got and then she goes home. And then who went next? Avery went home next, right? And then Avery went home right after taking out Kayla. And then Spicy took out Kayla, and she went home. Like, it was just, stop taking out your allies, motherfuckers. This game is all about loyalty and having that loyalty. And ultimately, had Anthony been loyal, he might have won the game. Loyalty is what's won. Done, done, done. I don't really know what else the fuck to say. Thank you all for watching. Um, yeah, I don't really have anything to say about the people that played this season. I mean, like, I could go over each person, but I mean, fuck it. I put up a video earlier about my thoughts on Survivor 46 because I had some thoughts. Um, I don't know. I would like to get back to recapping a little bit more, but to be honest with you, I just don't have interest really. But this shit was interesting tonight. This was very interesting. Anyways, until next time, I love y'all. See y'all later. Stay followed, stay tuned, stay bitter. Peace out.